Okay, have you installed the software, guys? Devyam, have you installed?
Sir, no, sir. Actually, sir, the minimum requirement for the PC was 8 GB RAM, and my system doesn't have that.
How much RAM your system is having right
Sir,
now?
4 GB.
4 GB, it will be working. It can work on that also. Your system performance is going to be bit degraded, but it will work.
Okay, so actually, sir, there was written in the mail that
Mhm.
minimum RAM required is 8 GB.
That will be for the dedicated software for the dedicated version. You are going to install the trial version, not the
Yes,
exact
sir.
full software. Okay, we have
Yes.
already cut shorted that software into pieces. Then we'll provide you that software. That particular software has two different CDs and a simulator of a different DVD.
Okay, sir.
So it will work or it can work using 4 GB RAM, but a little bit slow. The system performance will be degraded and it will, a little bit slow while you are processing or while you're working on the system.
Okay, sir.
So install it because from now we are going to work on the software only and the simulator, and what we are going to do. And other, as you can see, there are multiple candidates over here today. So they have already done something in the automation and have done with the programming before.
Yes.
So if you guys, the three of you, Divyam, Lokesh, and Rahul, you weren't there yesterday, na? Rahul Patwa.
Yeah,
You were present yesterday or not?
no,
Okay, got it. ठीक है. So if you haven't installed the software, it's okay, but we have to do the hands-on practice because the rest of the people will also join the same thing. Okay. So the other people who have joined today's session, the very who will come from the mechatronics side. So today again we'll start from the commissioning part, how to commission the PLC and what are the different views over there and how you can assign all those things. And then we'll work on logic gates as well as latching. You have worked on the latching. So I will ask you some questions during the session because we have already done so many things with the programming and with the designing of the logics. Yeah. So you have to answer all those things so that I'll be able to understand at what particular level you are now at the beginning stage of this particular session. Okay. Am I audible? Can anyone acknowledge, please? Yes, yes, yes. अच्छा एक चीज ओके 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 so many messages. Okay, any one of you will acknowledge while I'll presenting in front of you because while I'm presenting, I'm not able to see the chats, whatever you are going to write into the chat box. So if I'll ask something, then can anybody please acknowledge on that? So decide anyone who would want to acknowledge. Okay.
सब रहने वाले हैं.
So the very first thing is my screen visible to you guys?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Uh, so the okay. So why we are using a simulator? You have worked on the simulator. Those who come from the mechatronics today. the very first class with me. So why we are using simulator? What is the reason behind it? It's good that you'll answer by your own, otherwise I'll call each and everyone by their name only. Shubham, why we are using simulator? You have installed, or maybe you come to know that we have two softwares right now. The link that will be provided to you. That one is TI portal, other one is simulator. Why we are using simulator?
Sir, to check the output virtually.
Just output.
Sir, uh, we can find the fault also.
Okay.
Where is the fault?
It's again dealing with the output. Why? Why we are using simulator? Okay, what is this? Varun. Varun Kumar. If you are not responding, then I'll take it that you are just turning on your system and left. And I'll mark you are absent if you're not responding. Varun Kumar.
क्या टीचर है भाई ये?
Divyam ka ये जो
Hello, sir.
you are here only, huh?
Juicy.
Okay, why we are using simulator? Reason behind that.
Sir, to check some fault in the system.
Just fault. That's it. Okay, next is Kalpana. Why we are using simulator? See, why I'm asking is whatever you are using in your project or whatever the hardware and software we are going to be used or we are using, we must know about that why we are using them. What is the reason behind that we are using a simulator, a software, or a hardware? What is the reason behind that? Because until unless you are not aware of your system, then you are not you cannot do anything with your system.
So analysis is easy.
Sorry, analysis is easy. What kind of analysis you want you are doing in the simulator?
Sir, any kind of real world problems.
Okay, that will be done in the simulator. Okay, analysis. Okay, you are from electronics background, na? You guys
Yes,
will
sir.
join today. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Hitendra, why we are using simulator?
We analyze the outputs and fault type of things.
Fault type of things and output. Still output. Okay, done. See, why we are using a simulator over here? The reason is that we don't have a hardware with us. TI Portal is a software that will use to program a hardware, and that hardware is called PLC and HMI. PLC and HMI. In that, we have, if we want to add some packages, then we can also communicate with the drive as well as with the robotic arm. Okay, so generally, what happened, the things that will be connected with the PLC is drive or a robotic arm or a motor or a machine or anything that will be connected with the PLC. But actually with this software, what we are doing, we are programming or setting the parameters of a hardware, and that hardware is PLC, HMI, and other robotic arms, drives, motors, and other things that will be connected with the system. So we don't have a real hardware with us. So how we can provide, see, if we have a hardware, then we will connect that hardware with the different type of actuators, sensors, inputs, outputs. So we don't have that flexibility right now because we are doing the online session and we don't have the hardware with us right now. So the imitations of that hardware, so that we can provide a input and check according to the program what we have designed into the PLC using a TI portal, and what would be the result of that particular program after providing the input. So we'll have a input and output over there, so that we can check them virtually whether whatever we have designed in the PLC, or what program we have designed in the PLC or programming software is working fine or not. So it will providing you the flexibility or features having field inputs virtually and field outputs virtually. That's why we are using a simulator, so that you can practice on that. And the other thing is that no one can give you a real hardware to practice. No one gave you a real hardware to practice. So if you want to scale up, or if you want to brush up on your skills, then you have to use the simulator. If you have done something wrong, though, then the simulator will tell you. It will not hamper the simulator. It will not hamper any hardware devices or any processes. It will tell you, okay, this is your fault and you have to rectify this by using this. Otherwise, it may cause this type of accident. You can analyze all that. So simulator is for your practice, as well as we don't have the real hardware with us. So it will imitating the different inputs, that is sensor, that will be a sensor, that will be an input, that will be a pressure, that will be a temperature, or different type of actuators at output, which will actually actuate the machine to perform different type of functions. That's why we are using a simulator. Okay, so that here. So is my screen visible? We are using TIA portal version 15.1. Okay, again, the question for the guys who joined today. What do you understand by TIA? TIA. What is the reason that this particular software is called TIA? Who is this? Adarsh Shukla.
It is a platform on which we can do our project about the system and the real world problem.
Okay. So it is a platform where we are going to design a program, and according to the real-time problems, we'll design a program and solve it, right?
Yes, sir.
That's why it is called totally integrated automation, TIA. Totally integrated. Integrated means it has some integral part with it. Lokeshwar has left. Okay.
क्या चीज ध्यान रखें?
Who is this? Sunidhi.
Yes, sir.
TI portal. Why?
Sir, it gives access to the all types of automation services.
Like what?
Like from like all the operations involved.
Operations is with the software itself. See, as others said, that will be very much right, that it is a platform. But the flexibility will be having with the software itself. That is software having a flexibility to perform different operations and can compatible with different operations. But that is the capability of the software. It is a platform. I'm asking why this particular software is called TIA portal. Okay, next is, who is this? Bhanu.
Hello, sir.
Hello.
Sir, TIA portal, as the name suggests, totally integrated automation portal. So here things are integrated, just like it contains different OB,
Okay.
and where we draw our networks, certain
Okay.
blocks. So
Okay.
that could be the reason.
Okay. Very first thing, this is not a theory class like other academic classes. that where you have solved the problem that this particular block diagram has this block diagram. This particular block gives the signal to this particular block, and then it will execute and give the signals to the different. We need to know exactly what is the meaning of that block and how it will be performed. So it doesn't, that the very first sentence, even I'll be impressed that, okay, this will be, it has integration with it. Different systems are integrated with it. OBs, FCs, no. Now, who is this? Raj Nandini. I'll come to each and every one by one. What is called TI portal?
Yes, sir. So, TIA portal is a totally integrated automation portal where we program for our PLC. And it is totally integrated, means it provides us the
Different type of OBs, FCs, and all that, right?
automation service.
Okay. Next is who? Muskan.
Hello.
ड्रॉइड आज का माता
It is a platform basically which is a integration of all types of software required in automation.
All types, right? That is the answer. So why it is called integrated? बाकी लोग बच गए. Why it is called integrated? Because before that, Siemens have different PLCs like 200, 300, 400, 1500, 1200, HMI, SCADA. Each and every system requires a dedicated software. For 200, there is a dedicated software that is called MicroWin, Service Pack 9. For 300, there is a Semantic Manager. For 400, Semantic Manager. For 1200, TIA Portal version 11 from 10.5. 1500, TIA Portal version 12. HMI, WinCC Flexible. SCADA, WinCC Explorer. So different PLCs having their own dedicated softwares. That's why it will call it as a platform. It is not a software. TI Portal is not a software. It is a platform where we have different packages, where we have different softwares integrated with it. For PLCs, for every type of PLC, we have Semantic S7, or you can say Semantic 7 or Semantic S7. That is the software which will use to program the PLC, and it will be interfaced with each and every type of PLC except 200 PLC and logo PLC. Well, that was way back, outdated PLCs. Okay. And for HMI and SCADA, we have a combined system that is called WinCC Professional, having WinCC Flexible as well as WinCC Explorer. So we don't need to have multiple softwares with it. We just need a TI portal and a package in it. So that's why it is called TIA portal, totally integrated automation portal. It is a platform where we have different packages of softwares, which will use to program the Siemens as well as some other brands of PLC which are compatible with the software, as well as we can communicate any HMI with it. Siemens HMI as well as SCADA. We don't need to have a multiple softwares if we have a TI portal with us. We just need to buy the package of that thing only. Okay. So TI portal starts from version 10.5, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. And currently in the market, 16 is also there. But we have with us is 15.1. TI portal 15.1. Is my screen visible? Is my screen visible, guys?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So this is called, when you will double click on the icon of the TI portal, then you will come into the portal view. This is your portal view. Okay, there are two type of views in TI portal. One is portal view and another one is project view. As you can see at the bottom left-hand side, there is a project view. You can directly jump onto the project view, but you have to add the device first. Then you are able to perform the other functions. And from project view, you can directly jump to the portal view, the very first part. Okay, so at here, we have some existing programs that we have designed before. That will keep the records of each and every program that will be designed or updated later on with the date and time and with the project name. So you can directly open the existing program, or if you have stored or you have taken a program that will be from the another system and you want to migrate it into this system, then there is a migrate option. Source path, migrate, you have to go to the system where you have stored the data and migrate it. Or you can browse from here also. The different system, the compatible files will be here. Okay, but at the very first point, when we are in a portal view, what we are going to do is we need to create a project. Now at here, we'll define the project. Now, what we programming engineers or program engineers will do when we'll create a project, we'll give a code, 1200 CM. It will say, capital, it will say 1200 PLC commissioning, 1200 PLC commissioning. And then I'll give a underscore, and today's date is 10/02/21. So it will be easy for me whenever, if I'll done the servicing over here and go back, and if some problem will occur and I have been called by the administration that, okay, you have to rectify this and where is the backup, then you just need to think, okay, when you have entered it, this particular premises and what time, you have to enter the date and the system will be at your front. That'll be easy to identify the different programs you have designed for different vendors, and it will easy to identify you, okay, on what particular date you have designed this and when it will be updated. So this is a code. So this is how we'll do the project name. We'll give the project name, and this is the path. Path is where you want to store your program, where you want to store this project. Okay, you can do one thing, like you can create a folder that is CM commissioning, suppose, and go back, and then from here browse it, go to desktop, open, and here we have CM, and okay. Now whatever you are going to do in this project, it will be stored into CM's folder. And this is a version, this is your computer name, and a little information you want to add on. Then you write a comment over here regarding your project. What type of project is this? Then create. We are still in a portal view. So at here in portal view, we are creating, opening the existing program, so many things we can do. Now, what we need to do here is we need to configure a device. The other options are write PLC program without configuring a device where you are going to write a program. Configure different technology objects. If there are hardware modules that will be connected with your system, then you have to configure all this. And if you have a HMI with you. Okay, so we're going to do this also, but step by step. Configure a device. Still, we are in a portal view. Now, if you are connected with a network, that means a LAN network, then the devices that will be connected with your system, that with your PG, it will be shown over here. And you are clicking on the show all devices. But right now we haven't connected with any network. We are just connecting the simulator. Even we haven't opened the simulator yet. Okay, so then we have this option that add a new device, a device where you want to work on. So see, these are the packages: controller 1200, 1500, 300, 400, and there are the smart 200 CPUs. This is called extended terminals and device proxies. Everyone knows why we use device proxies. Okay, and HMI. Each and every type of HMI having different panel sizes, you can communicate. So why this is called as and PC systems, your SCADA system. Which type of SCADA system you want to embed with? Here we have. Right now, C numeric, that means we can connect the CNC with it. Computer numeric control. Sorry. So that's why we have bought these three packages. If I want to control the drive, so I have to buy the drive section over here. Then I can control the motor, servo motor of the drive, or any type of motor, AC, DC, servo, or as we know in robotics, we have servo drives. We can control that from here only. We don't need to go towards the teach pendant and work on it. The whole industry you can control from your system only. Because PLCs, HMI, SCADA, they are the eye and brain of the industry. HMI and SCADA are the eyes, and PLC is the brain. So, okay, we have a 1200 CPU and we have 1-to-1. These are the different type of CPUs we have. Okay, we have the configuration that is 1214 AC/DC relay we have. Yeah. And we have the serial number of 1BG400XP0. And whatever the selection you have made, and when you have selected, the information regarding that particular hardware will be mentioned over here, that how many work memory, system memory, and other things are with this particular system, and how many internal integrated inputs, outputs are with this system. So the way to add this PLCs, either you can double click on it or scroll down, add. Now we are leaving the portal view, or we are entering into the project view. This is the commissioning. Still commissioning is not done. This is called project view. As you can see at here, it will showing portal view. Okay, so when we'll add the PLC, the hardware where we want to work on, then this particular wizard will turn from portal view to project view. So at here we have project tree. This is called project tree. This is called working area, and this wizard open when you will click on device configuration. So it will be easy to understand. In this work area, we have different views. By default, we'll stick into the device view. Then we have a network view. Network view when we have connected with multiple systems. When we are going to connect multiple systems, then we are use this particular view, so that are we connected, are the system is working, or the other systems are working or not. Topology view says that which type of bus topology we are using. Ring type, bus type, star type, which type of bus topologies we are using. Okay. So these are the different views. And if you want to see the different properties of the CPU, and click on the CPU and click this at the right side, and this is your device data. So very first, okay, before device data, let me tell you one thing. So this is a DIN rail. The guys who will join today only, are you aware of DIN rail? No one. Okay.
बताया तो था.
No. अरे भाई, मैंने कहा था ना, ये तो मैं अभी शिफ्ट कर गया यहाँ पे. I have told you that while I'm presenting my screen, that I'm not able to watch or see your comments. So it's good. You'll respond. You'll unmute your mic and tell me, okay, yes or no. No. Okay. Kalpana said yes. Prajita said yes. 240. अभी क्या टाइम है? Okay. Okay, so you don't know about Dindale. Okay. Where is Divyam? Divyam, where are you? Are you there?
Yes. Yes, sir.
You know what is Dindale. We have discussed. Oh, we have discussed. We have discussed Dindale. You don't know about Dindale. You was present yesterday or still?
I was
Like-
yesterday.
Okay.
Sir, like a metal plate with
Right.
holes sort of between it.
We have discussed that there is a DIN rail. So, okay, let me present the presentation again so that you all guys again, you guys will be refreshed and they'll know what is DIN rail. Let me stop the presentation from here. So DIN rail is a very important aspect of any manufacturing or electrical panels or whatever we'll say, where we'll put our electrical or electronic devices. So DIN rail is a very important thing. DIN rail stands for Dutch International Norms. It is a metal plate, or you can say a track or rail, where we'll you can say hold, or we can hang our electrical electronics equipments on that. So let me show you the presentation of DIN rail. Okay. Now presentation is visible. My presentation is visible. This is DIN rail. Stands for Dutch International Norm. The thing at here is written in German. That is Dutch Institute for Normal. But in English, it will be pronounced as Dutch International Norm. This DIN rail is a metal type rail that will be used for mounting circuit breakers, relays, PLCs, motors, and other electrical equipments. It is a rack. It is a rack. Okay. And it is made of cold rolled carbon steel sheet with a zinc plated or chrome bright surface finishing. They are meant only for mechanical support. They are meant only for mechanical support and cannot be used as a bus bar to conduct electrical. That means you cannot pass the current through it. It is not a conductor, it is just a mechanical, or you can say a metal sheet we will use to mount the devices on it, electrical as well as electronic devices on it. And although we'll provide the chassis ground, why we'll providing the chassis ground? Because when we'll mount different electrical and electronic devices, due to leakage of current, due to surge, due to any malfunction and short circuit, the current shouldn't be travel into the DIN rail, so that a person or the other devices cannot be electrocuted and cannot be burned. So a potential ground is provided to the chassis so that whatever the surge as well as the leakage current available or present in the system or circuit, it will be directly grounded. Okay. So there are three types of DIN rails, and they are adopted by the IEC and EN. You have seen many times that EN will be written as the electrical or electronic devices. EN means European standards, and IEC, International Electrotechnical Commission. Okay, there are three major types. Very first is top head section, O, ohm, omega, with head cross section. This is the first type. And the standard is IEC, that is International Electrotechnical Commission, and European Standard 60715. It will come under this standard. Then C section, it has four other sections also, divided into four other sections, 20, 30, 40. AS, Australian Standard 1997. That is the standard, that will be Australian standard. And then G section. So top hat and G, they are most commonly used DIN rails. So it has European standard 50035, British standard BS 5825, and Dutch international norms code 6277-1. These are the standards they are come under or they are fall under. This is how they are look like. This is your DIN rail, that is the top hat, your very first top hat, typo, omega, ohm. So this is your C section 20, 30, 40, and 50. This is the C section, and this is your G section, like this. Now, what is the meaning? That is the total length, that means the height of the DIN rail, that it can have this particular, and that particular type of hardware device can be mounted or can be mounting on it. Okay, plus this 25 is showing the depth. After mounting, how many distance between that mounted device and the surface will have. Why this is required? Because we have multiple devices that will be connected on a DIN rail. So we must have we have some other devices that is called supply distributed connectors that will be connected. And the other factor is when we'll connect multiple devices, so we all know that each and every device will dissipate some heat when they are in use. So that the difference or the gap in between the mounted device and the DIN rails surface should be that much that the air will be coming and passing through it, and it will help to cooling the heated, or heat will be dissipated effectively. That is the meaning of these dimensions. Okay, so this is the most common in our PLC on small electronics as well as electrical devices will mount on this top head type of DIN rail. C sections not mostly used. There are only
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
So we are not able to see the presentation.
Okay.
Means the current presentation from what which you are talking.
Now. Okay. हम बहुत जल्दी से रहे हैं. अभी दिख रही है क्या? Are you able to see?
Yes, sir.
So you have seen this thing. You have seen this thing or not? This particular slide.
No, sir.
No, you haven't. तो यार बता तो देते ना यार. चलो ठीक है, दे रहा है दुरुस्त है, ऐसी बात है. So you have seen this, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. This was the last slide.
That was the last slide. Okay, we have discussed 2 more slides after that. Okay, so this is EN, Dutch International Norms, and IEC, Electrotechnical Commission, International Electrotechnical Commission. These are the standards which will take care all these hardware equipment that they'll be in proper shape and dimension. Okay, so there are 3 major types of dindle. One is top hat, typo, or typome or omega with hat-shaped cross-section. Hat-shaped why? How? As you can see, if you'll twist it, if we move it this way, it will look like a hat. That's why it will call as a hat type. Okay, so it has the standard IC or EN, that means International Electrotechnical Commission European Standard 6071. And then we have a C section, that is Australian standard 2756.1997, and G section European 50035 standard, British 5825, and Dutch International Norms 462771-1. So that will be the standards. We have to follow these standards. We cannot go after this standard. We have to choose the DIN rails within these standards. The most commonly used DIN rails are this and last, top hat and G section. So this is the top hat. The dimension is, this is the height of the system. At that particular size of hardware device, we can put it on and mount it on. After mounting, how much gap between the surface, that means this is like that, suppose. So after mounting that, something is mounted over here. So it always have some this type of hardware that will be connected, and it has this type of clips with it. So how much gap left after mounting, that will be important, so that the heat dissipation can be done effectively. Plus, if I want to share the supply or the data with other devices, so we can connect some more internal bus bars with it, and still we must have that much type of gap in between the connector, the mounting device, and the surface of the dindle, that the heat will be dissipated accordingly. So this is the meaning of these whole dimensions and the numberings that will be mentioned over here. C-type section having C20, 30, 40, 50. Again, it will use to hold the electrical as well as electronic devices. Small electrical and electronic devices will be mounting over top hat. And in G section, G-rail, heavier load, high power components will be like ACBs, transformers, these kind of things are going to be mounted on G-type DIN rail. So this is a DIN rail. So on DIN rail, we'll mount different devices. So at here, when we'll do the commissioning, we have a DIN rail. So that is a DIN rail part. And this is a hardware, we'll know that. You have discussed all that with Anuj. Okay, let me stop presentation and let me go to the other system. Am I audible now?
Hello.
Okay. 20 लोग रह गए थे.
हाँ. तो ले आ. मेरे पे यहाँ तो नहीं, मैं ऊपर ज्यादा हूँ. फर्स्ट फ्लोर पे, सेकंड फ्लोर पे हूँ मैं अभी.
So now this is a DIN.
क्या?
Okay. So on that DIN rail we have mounting PLC, and we know that. Okay, we know that. What are they? 1, 2, 3, and what are these things? Can anyone tell me? जिसका मेरे को नाम याद होगा मैंने उसको बोल देना है. Others.
The communication port and input output ports. will be mounted there.
Okay, communication port is mounting over here and the inputs and outputs are mounting over here. Okay, right, very much right. Bhai, Divyam. We have discussed the
Yes, sir.
hardware yesterday only.
Yes,
Tell
sir.
me, what we are going to place over here
ये पीछा नहीं छोड़ेगा बे.
at left and at right. Any idea?
Sorry, sir.
कोई बात नहीं. Ritik Sethi.
Sir, communication ports on the left side and on right side output cards.
Cards. Okay. Now Muskan Jindal. Muskan.
Yes, sir. No idea, sir.
No idea. Okay. और कितने लोग हैं? कितनी शोर है? Okay. खुशबू.
Yes, sir.
बताओ.
The input output ports on the right and communication ports on the left.
They are not ports. What we call it is, at the left hand side will mount communication modules. Port is here at the left side of the PLC. Will connect the module with that port. So we are not mounting the ports, we are mounting the modules. Remember one thing, this way. And at here, we do not call it as input and output cards. We'll call it signal modules. Now, when you open the hardware catalog, you haven't, there is no statement that will be written as input-output cards. Okay, there is nothing that will be written as communication ports. Communication modules at the left-hand side and at the right-hand side, signal modules. So in case of S7 1200 PLC CPU 1214C AC DC array on a single DIN rail, we cannot connect more than 11 modules. As you can calculate, 3 communication modules and 8 signal modules.
311.
8 plus 3, 11. And the current consumption of the whole 11 modules, including PLC, that means 12, should not go more than 1.2 amperes. 1.2 amperes. Now, let me show you one thing. 200. Is it visible to you guys that the input numbers over here?
Yes, sir.
I0.0, I0.1, 1.5, Q0.0, Q0, right now? Visible, na?
Yes, sir.
By default, each and every PLC will start its input addressing or output addressing by 0th byte. That means the first address of the input always be I0.0 in each and every PLC. But as we have seen, we have discussed yesterday that at the hardware, on the hardware, the numbering is in mention, the numbering mentioned in points, 0.0, 0.1, 0.2, 0.3. That means at hardware, you will get 0.0, 0.1, 0.2, 0.3, 0.4, 0.5, 0.6, 0.7, and then again 0.0, 0.1, 0.2, same as like for the output. Why is that so? Because we have the flexibility to change the starting address. We have the flexibility to change the starting address of a PLC, input as well as output. Why? If you are communicating with multiple PLCs, then each and every PLC having this thing. The very first address will be I0.0. The first address of output will be Q0.0, each and every PLC. So at the time of programming, while sending the data or signal towards any input or output, so CPU will get confused that which particular address this particular signal should be sent or sent. So to distinguish between these things, we can change. We have the flexibility to change the starting address of the inputs as well as outputs. After point, they will remain same because these are the bits only. So it will remain same. 1 byte has 8 bits, so 0 to 7. Right now it has 0. How we can change that? That is device data. Here we have the whole information of the system. 101, 102, 103, 3 communication modules. PLCs mounted at 1, and it has digital inputs and outputs. So 14 digital inputs, 10 digital outputs, and 2 analog inputs with it. So it is mentioned over here, and 6 high-speed counters and pulse generators. These are the informations. Now you can see the CPU number, article number, the serial number that is, and version. Now here we have the addresses I and Q, 0 and 1. This 0 and 1 is nothing but a byte address. That means 0th byte and 1 byte. So address always be mentioned in bytes. 0 and 1, 0 and 1. If I want to change it to 2, just I need to put the first digit. The other digit will be coming automatically, 2 and 3. As you can see that 2 and 3. Now go and check. Input will be changed. Now input is changed. It is changed. So here, from here, you can change the address of the input. 2 and 3. If you want to change again, I'll put it 1. Enter. It will take the second digit automatically. Then I'll come hit. So see 1 and 2. So we can change if we are having multiple PLCs, and to distinguish between different inputs and outputs, we can change accordingly in a sequence. The second thing is, at here, how would you know that how many addresses you can put in this particular PLC? So here is the range. 0 to 1022, because 2 bytes already in use. We know that we can communicate 2048 inputs with this, 1024 inputs and 1024 outputs. So 2 bytes are already in use, and we can use mode 1022, 0 to 1022 inputs. Same as like output, we can change. Let me put it back to 0 and 2 again. Now go and check. 2, 3. So this is how, and same as like that, we can check how many outputs we can connect. 0 to 2, because 2 bytes are already in use, so 1024. Let me again put it back into 0, 1. Now, analog input. We have 2 analog inputs, so I address is here and Q address is here. Now, you can calculate how many bytes are there. Can anyone tell me how many bytes are there? I have told you that the thing is in bytes. Whatever the numberings are there, they are in bytes. How many bytes are there?
4.
Shubham.
नाम याद होगा इसका?
है कोई इस नाम का?
Yes, sir.
तुक्का लगाया था.
4
4 bytes, right. So there are 4 bytes, 64, 65, 66, and 67. When we are dealing with the digital, we'll use a byte having different bits. So we have the flexibility to switch the device to use each and every bit of a byte in case of digital input. But in analog input, each input contains 2 bytes. So if I want to address the analog input 1, then it will have the address like that: I input W word 64. Have you done with the memory concept? The guys who will join today. Memory concept, bit, byte, word, double word. Yes or no?
खा रहा था, आप क्या बोले?
टाइप ही कर दो कोई, अब तो मैं देख भी रहा हूँ यहाँ पे. Memory concepts. Have you done with it or not? शुभम, तुम भी सबसे पहले नजर आ रहे हो भाई. Okay, Shubham, yes. Done. That means you have done with the memory concept. Okay. And it will be done. Okay, so that means IW64. So in W means 16-bit data. W means 16-bit data. So we know that by this thing that the analog input consists of 16-bit data. For that we need 2 bytes. IW64 is the address of our first analog input. And IW66 is the second address of our analog input. So there are 2 analog inputs. The first address of analog input is IW64, and the second analog input's address is IW66. At here, we can also change this. We can do the changes. Right? I need 2 digits, and it will take the another digit. 45. So now the address is IW45. That means 45 and 46 is for input number 1, and 47 and 48 is for input number 2. IW45 and IW47. That is P64. Now whatever you are going to add, it will be shown over here step by step, one by one. Whatever you are going to add. Okay, now let 0 1 0. Okay. Now add here in catalog. If you want to communicate with multiple PLCs, here are the CPUs. Now there are 3 different things: signal boards, communication board, and battery board. Maybe you have discussed, the other guys who will join today only, what are they and what are they aren't. Signal boards are surface mount devices. They are connected over here. Signal boards, communication board, and battery board, they are connected over here. They are surface mount devices, SMDs. Okay, at a time, one thing can be worked, which will be connected over here. Okay, signal boards means digital or analog, input or output. If you are required 1 or 2 digital or analog input and output, then you can use this surface mount device. According to the serial number of that particular device, you have to check over here, either digital or analog. But right now, in our lab, we have analog with it. Why? Because we have 14 digital input, 10 digital output, and again 2 analog input. But we don't have any analog output. So analog output, 1, this is the single, 12 bit, and done. Oh, sorry. Ab done. Ab ye dal gaya yahan pe, you can check here. Previously, it was not there. Right now, it has. Now it has the address 80 and 81. That means this is a single output 16-bit address. The address is QW80. QW80. This is the address of this thing. Oh. Okay. So signal board is done. Communication board, if you want to add some Profinet ports over here again, then you can do that. Battery board for giving the backup supply. Now, signal modules. That will be here. DI, DO, DI-DO combination, AI, AO, and combinations. And the left-hand side, where you want to communicate, these are the communication modules. And these are the technological for different devices. Power signal boosters, IO link master, conditional monitoring system, weighing modules. So if we have a special type of process, then accordingly we have some technological modules. So here we will connect. Whatever the hardware is connected with your system, that you have to mention over here. Now the very next step is, we need to know what is the IP address of the PLC. If you are working with the PLC and the PLC is in a fresh condition, then by default, the IP address of the PLC is 192.168.0.1 and the subnet mask is 255.255.255.0. Okay, so there we need to check the IP address of the PLC. Why we need to check the IP address of the PLC? Can anyone tell me why I'm going to check the IP address of the PLC? You have done something. The guys will join today. They have done already few things. You have designed the logic gates also. DOL, RDOL, latching, and all that. I'm going to ask you so many questions regarding the same. कोई बोलेगा या मैं बुलवाऊं किसी से थोड़ा थोड़ा?
बुलवाई लो।
अच्छा ये कोई नया लग रहा है भाई। अंकुश।
Yes.
Tell me why we क्या पूछ रहा था मैं?
Why we require IP address?
हाँ, why we require IP address? Right, thank you.
Sir, maybe to communicate with the PLC from different PC.
I got it. To communicate with the PLC, but still, why IP address he? Why we are using IP address? Why we are not using the other things with it? There are so many ways to communicate. Maybe sir will tell you or not. Okay. There are 3 ways to communicate with the PLC. One is through the IP address. Second is through the name. And third is through the MAC address. There are 3 ways to communicate with the PLC. Why we are checking the IP address of the PLC? Okay, I'll tell you why. The reason is that we are using a Profinet port and it is nothing but a LAN connection having RJ45. We are using a Profinet cable that looks like a LAN cable, but having high security, high bandwidth, and high speed with it. So the Profinet port is nothing a normal LAN port. So the LAN port will use TCP/IP protocol for communication. TCP/IP protocol, that is Transfer Control Protocol and Internet Protocol for communication. That's why we are looking for the IP address of the PLC so that we can connect our computer with the PLC. And why we are connecting the computer with the PLC? Because the software, that particular system is having the software. Okay. And the software as well as the PLC hardware should be at same platform, so that whatever we are going to design and whatever we are going to commission into it, it will be directly loaded into the PLC. That's why we are looking for the IP address of the PLC. The other way is you can assign a name with the help of software, or there is a machine access code that is called a MAC address. Each and every PLC is having a unique access code. Right now we have 6 S7-1200 PLCs in our lab, in automation lab. Each and every PLC having the same family S7-1200, having the same CPU number, that is CPU 1214C AC-DC relay, and having the same serial number. यार सही टाइम पे आया हुआ है, क्या टाइम हुआ यार? 10. Okay, let's take a break. We'll join at 3:30. Let's take a break.
खुद को चाय पी तो ब्रेक